Welcome back. Today we're discussing how you should be cleaning and maintaining your boots. Whether it's leather, synthetic, suede or nubuck, we're going to go through the steps you need to follow to make sure your boots are ready for your next big adventure. Okay, so beside me we have all of the items we're going to need for cleaning and maintaining our boots today. And what we're going to do is go through each item as we come to it. The first one will be this nice bristle brush from GRANGERS. It's got nice stiff bristles, which means it's really good for getting off mud and grime from the boots. So the first thing we're going to do is a dry clean. So the boot's dry, the mud on the boot is dry, and all we're going to do is use this brush to scuff off any mud. I like to use the end of this one. It's got a slight wedge to it, just to, if there's a bit of stubborn mud on there that's dry, we can just use that, especially on the sole unit and the rand, just to scuff it off. It comes off a bit easier sometimes than using those bristles. Brilliant, so what we've done there is we've got off the majority of the mud. It gives us a really good starting point for giving this boot a slightly deeper clean. All those lumpy, bumpy bits of mud on there that have gone, and if we got them wet, they would have just been a nuisance. So we've got them all off nice and easily, and we've got a really good base to start our clean.
So this is the stage where you'll also want to clean the underside of the sole unit. On a quick clean where you're just looking to add a bit of maintenance to your boot, this isn't essential, but if you're looking to do a deep clean and put your boots away for a long time, then this is a good, worthwhile thing to do. I would use the wedge on the brittle brush to break up any dirt from inside the tread, and then use the brush to brush it out.
So that process would be exactly the same for a synthetic boot, especially if it's really, really muddy. If it's like this one, which has only got a light bit of mud on, you could potentially skip this step and move straight onto a wet clean. But if you've got some stubborn mud across the sole unit and the rand, then this would definitely be worth doing. Okay, the next step is the wet clean. So we've got a number of products we could use for this. We've got the GRANGERS footwear cleaner, and we've also got the NIKWAX gel. So the GRANGERS cleaner comes in a spray bottle, nice and easy to apply, and then the NIKWAX stuff comes in a little bottle, and then on the end of it is a brush, meaning that you can actually use this to help clean the boot, which is a nice little feature on that one. For this, we're going to use the GRANGERS cleaner. We're going to grab a little tub and get our boot and give the boot a good coating. This would also be a good time to remove the laces. And by removing the laces, what we've done here is we've allowed us to get full access to the tongue of the boot, meaning we can get a bit of a more thorough clean. So all these creases now, we can see there's a bit of muck and stuff in there, and we get a bit of cleaner in there too. Once the boot's got a nice covering, we're going to go back to our brittle brush and give it a good scrub. There's no time limit with this, guys, just take your time and make sure you've got a really good finish on the boot. You may need to rinse it a couple times and reapply the spray if needed, but see how you get on. It does depend a little bit on how dirty your boots are. That's coming up pretty well. What we're going to do is we're going to pop to the sink now and give this a rinse off, and then we'll be back. Brilliant, so we've rinsed our boot off now, and as you can see it's looking a lot better. It's a really good platform now for us to start applying our wax or protector. This process would be exactly the same with our synthetic boot. You would apply your cleaner liberally, whether that is the footwear cleaner from NIKWAX or from GRANGERS, and you use that to scrub out all of the dirt and all of the grime and give yourself a nice clean finish. Okay, so in front of me now we have two clean boots, and that's a really important step when maintaining your boots. Keeping them clean and getting the mud and grime off is a really good way to extend the life of your boot. However, now is where the similarities stop. So we're going to do two different processes for these different types of boot, and we're going to discuss some of the other options for various other boots as well. So we'll start with synthetic. For a synthetic boot here, the best thing to do is to spray it with a DWR coating. So you get this from both GRANGERS and from NIKWAX. And what it is it's a protective coating that you spray onto the outside. It will help water bead off of the shoe. So it's going to stop mud and grime sticking to the boot quite as quickly. It means you're not going to have to clean it quite as regularly. And it also gives the boot an extra layer of water repellency as well. It's worth noting that you should apply this while the boot is still damp to allow it to soak into the boot nicely, and that's going to give you the best finish. Next, we've got a leather boot. So what we're going to do with the leather boot is we're going to wax it. So we've got a number of different waxes. We've got GWAX and we've got LEDAGRIS. And we've also got a very soft one from NIKWAX there as well. They're all very much of a muchness. We'd recommend looking at a beeswax solution because it's going to give you the best finish on your boots, and it's also not damaging to any of the parts of the boot, so whether that's the leather or the synthetic stitching. And we're going to apply that across the boot with a rag, doing little circles to help working it into all the stitching lines, up to the top of the boot, making sure we're getting into the creasing lines of the boot as well, and fully covering the boot in this wax. Once that's done, we're going to let that sit and we're going to grab a polishing brush. We've got the ones from LOWA here, and it's a much softer brush, and that's going to be used for buffing off the wax. So you could use a separate rag for this one that hasn't got any on it, but if you've got a brush, you're going to get a slightly better finish. And you're going to use a quick brushing motion to buff off the excess wax and remove that, and it's also going to give your boot a nice shine. The other two options are suede and nubuck. When it comes to suede, we'd recommend you look at a spray of some description, a waterproofing spray. This will keep the look of and style of the suede finish and help protect the boot at the same time. With nubuck though, you've got two different routes. You can wax it or you can spray it. If you're going to wax your nubuck boot, bear in mind that it is going to change colour and it's also going to change the appearance of the leather. So the boot in front of me actually was a nubuck boot that I decided to wax, and what you've ended up with, instead of that light colour, it's got a darker brown and it's also gone shiny rather than that matte finish. Waxing a nubuck boot is definitely the best thing you can do for it, but I understand that a lot of people like the aesthetic appeal of a nubuck boot, and if that's the case then you're going to want to spray it, and this won't change the appearance as much. So there you have it, a really quick look at how to clean and maintain your boots so that they're ready for your next adventure. If you've got any questions, please leave them down in the comment section below, and as always, if you can like and subscribe, that would really help us out. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.